In this edition of In Conversation, we talk with Chris Glenn, U20 national team and Ben United FC player. Hi, is this Chris?
Yeah, yeah.
Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Austin. Thank you for coming on here and doing this interview. I really do appreciate you coming on and doing this. Would you like to start and just kind of introduce yourself to the viewers and kind of like how you got started into football, all the way to, where you are now?
All right. So, my name is Christopher Glenn, and I'm 17 years old. So basically, like, I started playing football like at the age of 6 when
Oh,
I was
wow.
young. That was just like going to the field, kicking around with friends and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Nothing serious. And like in I would say 2022, that's when I started to like would say more take football serious. Like I started playing with adults and stuff like that. And I would say a year after that, we had national team tryouts. So in 2023, I went to try out for the U15 national team. So I've been playing on a national team for like 3 years now, from under 15s now to under 20s. And as of right now, I'm currently playing in the professional league of Belize for Benke United FC.
Oh, really? Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know you were with United FC. I actually had interviewed their owner, and I think he's got great plans for and I know he signs good young talent like yourself. Um, and I had a question about the process of getting signed. I know you said you got what the U15 team is when you started. How is that process? How was it for you and like for other players as far as is it just open tryouts or invitations? How does that process go as far as the selection of players of U15, U20, and all the national teams?
Okay, so for my group, for my U15 group, there was like tryouts in each district of the country, and they basically just have like coaches from the local areas go, and also some of the coaches from the national team. They pick a specific area, and it's just like an open tryout for anyone to attend, and they basically just pick the best players from the area. And then for our U15 tryout, they selected the best players from each district, and then they did another tryout at the FFB headquarters in Belmopan, which was I think about like 60 selected players in one day, a tryout. They basically split everyone into teams, and we played small-sided games. And based on that 60, they selected I think about 30 was the first list. So they selected a list of 30, and those 30 players would come into camp every weekend. And from there the list got cut down, I think, to about 20 players going into our first tournament.
Yeah.
And for us, for our under 20, um it's been basically the same players from U15 to now the under 20. So
Yeah.
it's like the same players just developing into different.
Great. Yeah, that's something I was curious about, and I appreciate you sharing insight on that, and to everybody watching. And that's the thing. I think that's a great way to do it is let them, all try out and have more of an open type of thing. You said in all the different regions, right? Because I think there's a lot of talent in Belize. That's why GSN is, covering Belize specifically. So. I do like that for the game, as a whole. And yeah, thank you for sharing that. My next question was going to be, I know the qualifiers just wrapped up. How is the team chemistry? And I know because you said like a lot of the guys kind of develop through U15, U17, U20. So is it kind of the same group of guys, and how is that team chemistry kind of built over the years and where it is right now?
Okay, so when we first started, um, the team chemistry, it wasn't great. It
Mm,
wasn't the best. Going into our first tournament, it was by far the worst result we've
yeah,
had. I think the games went. Our first game was 3-1, then we lost 7-0, and then 12-2, and then 9-0. So the
wow,
result great, and then over time they just kept the same players coming into camp, made a few changes. Players that couldn't hold the weight of the team, they got replaced with better players. But for the most part, it has been the same group of guys coming into camp for the past 3 years, just training, training the same system,
yeah,
drilling the same system, so that we can just be comfortable with our style of football, and so that we can learn how to play with each other. I think
yeah.
that was the main goal. And so going into the under 20s, the chemistry, I think, is was great.
Mm.
Each player knew. There was no like new guys on the team to say. Everyone played with each other before for a long time. So the chemistry was good going into the qualifiers, and I believe the results show that.
Yeah, I think they did. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm finished.
Oh no, I was saying, yeah, I think they did show that, and I'm sure the fans, that have really been tuned in and watching, I'm sure they've loved to see, the progression over the years, that they saw, and how, like you said, the results at first, back in U15 or whatever, when you first kind of formed that team that's kind of held together for the most part, till now. I'm sure they love to see, how much better y'all have gotten and you will continue to get.
Yeah.
Obviously, the results have changed a lot and improved a lot. So yeah, that's exciting to see. For everybody. And yeah, man, I think you along with all the players are going to really represent Belizean football in the years to come. And you're really doing the country proud. My next question was going to be, I know right now, you're only 17. You're playing in, I mean, well, you're on the national team playing in the PLB. What is your goal or dream, like, league to play in, or that you think that you will be playing in the next 5 years? As you develop and get older. Is it the MLS, Europe, or staying in Belize and really becoming a big time star here? What is kind of the goal?
So for me personally, I just try to take things step by step. For now, my goal is to just more developing my talent, my skills, my physical ability for right now. So in the next 5 years, I plan to definitely go outside the country, maybe somewhere in Central America, Honduras, Costa Rica, somewhere, and like I said, just develop my ability and my skills,
Yeah,
and hopefully one day play where no football player from Belize have ever played in Europe.
yeah,
That is my actual dream. I don't have a specific league or a specific country. I'm just leaving that up to God and
yeah.
whatever His plan is. And I'll just be working towards that. But definitely playing football in Europe is something that I dream of, and I will try my best to accomplish.
Yeah, and I think you got the right mindset. Just next game, and improving every game, and obviously, yeah. I mean, I think you can definitely achieve those goals you set up to even get to the European leagues eventually and things like that. Um, and as well as some of your peers that you're playing with right now. And what was that experience like playing in the CONCACAF U20 qualifiers just a few days ago in that tournament. What was the experience like, and the difference between that competition and play and the PLB where you play, every week with the club, Benke United.
Yeah, so first, the experience, just representing your country, representing your family is a great feeling. Just playing on international soil is something that I've dreamt about since I was a kid, and actually doing it, it really makes me feel like I've accomplished something in life. And being in Nicaragua around my teammates, around the coaches, it has definitely been a wonderful experience. And the level of teams that we played against, it really opened my eyes to see, where football can take people and what happens when you really take football serious. And
Yeah,
just playing game after game after game, it definitely grew my love for the sport even more. And just the difference as well, by difference
yeah,
in playing international in Belize. It's a very huge gap, technically, physically.
yeah,
The
yeah,
players. I feel like the players outside compared to youth players in Belize is a
mhm,
very huge gap, because, as you know, Belize doesn't have that academy system like
yes,
most of the countries. So when we go to play, we usually meet more skilled and more, um how to say it, like more well-rounded players
yeah,
than us. So it's usually very difficult when competing against these teams. And but the with the talent level that Belize has, I feel like going into the next few years, Belize won't be a country that is going to just participate. I feel like in
yeah.
the next few years, Belize is definitely going to be a country going going to compete in these upcoming tournaments.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm hearing from all the owners that are implementing these changes and doing things not only inside of their club but also outside, as far as trying to build academies and different youth programs for football in Belize. And I think obviously y'all are already competing at a pretty high level, pretty well, and that's with some disadvantages of not having some of the
Yeah,
good academy structures and things like that that some of these other nations have. So I think with improving that, and as different owners and people take even more initiative to continue to grow, as they all are. I think, yeah, definitely, it's going to be, like you said, you're going to be even at a higher level and even competing, better at the international stage. And that was my thing too. I know you said because like these games have been what, every other day or every few days in the qualifiers, right? So how is like do you have practices in between those games, or is it just like one rest day or light training? How did that work when you were playing all these games kind of back to back to back in this tournament?
yeah. So during the tournament, after each game, we had one rest day, which wasn't really a rest day because we would still train.
Hmm.
So yeah, we would just work on tactics, set pieces, work on how we want to defend, how we want to attack in the game. Nothing really straining on our body, but just more the tactical side of the game. Yeah, so we would train um on the rest days, and after every game, it's mandatory that everyone on the team take ice baths, so
Hmm.
that can boost our recovery, so that we can be ready for the next game.
Great. Yeah, that was just something I wasn't sure of, and how that worked with I know it's hard to play that many back to back, I'm sure. Um, the next thing would be you're a young player, 17, already becoming a star, and you're going to be going far, obviously, right? And I do like to ask players, like, what did you have like a mentor growing up, or like somebody you just looked up to, like a role model in football and maybe in Belize football, as you grew up, or not really? Did you just kind of pave your own way and not really have anybody you necessarily looked up to? How was that for you growing up?
Well, for me personally, like to say a personal mentor, not really, but I mean
Mhm.
there was players that I looked up to, players that I aspired to be like. I was like, one day I want to be where he is. I want to play like him, or
Yeah.
but for the most part, I would say like I paved my own way because
Mhm.
where I come from, there's not really much, athletes,
Yeah.
more not much football players. So like growing up, I was not the best. I was,
Mhm.
so I would say I came a long way from where I was, and for the most part, I did it on my own.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, and do you think that if there is more academies and as that kind of youth structure in Belizean football grows, you think more people might have some coaches and mentors that can maybe help them along the way and even be developed even earlier or better? Not that obviously like yourself, you can do it without a mentor or a coach, but do you think that will improve as the academies and more like infrastructure there?
Yeah, definitely. I think football as a whole in Belize would grow if we started that academy
Mm,
system, starting players from they are small, because I believe that if I had someone right next to me guiding me,
mm,
or like for say a team to train every single day, have games week in week out, I believe that I would be a way better football player than I am now. So
yeah.
I believe an academy system would definitely help the young football players of Belize, just to guide them on that path on where they need to go if they want to take their football to the next level.
Yeah, and I hope that can happen in the coming years. And that was most of my questions surrounding you. Now, did you have any questions for what GSN is doing and and what I'm doing here? Or any questions or thoughts?
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask, like, what's your main goal, while looking at players and Belize, like what's your overall goal for what you do?
Yeah, well, I would say GSN's goal is to be the best reliable source of like scores, news, updates, and coverage of Belize football for fans, and also in the process highlighting and showcasing players and young rising stars like yourself. As well as the teams, and that's why we interview owners and stuff to get better insight of the projection of Belize. And also, we're working on with some like leagues like the BDFA, eventually being able to bring like live stream coverage of some of the like smaller leagues that don't have the coverage. That way, fans can see some of these players that are don't have as much attention, and really just grow the sport in Belize as a whole, media wise. What we can do, and I know that a lot of people are working to grow the actual sport, at the actual game level. And we want to follow that and, really be the best media source to cover that, since there's not really a lot that do have coverage of that. So that's why we stepped into Belize, and that's why we do this.
Yeah, I really feel like it's a good thing because there's a lot of talent, there's a lot of amazing football players in Belize, and I feel like if if some of us would get the right opportunities, the right exposure, we can really make it somewhere in football. So really
Yeah.
appreciate what you do, and hope hopefully to see you at the top in the next coming years.
Yeah, thank you. And that's what we strive to do. GSN, that is our goal, is to bring like the exposure and to the players and just the sport in general. So yeah, I do appreciate you coming on here and doing this interview and sharing your personal experience and kind of your career with the viewers. In this interview. I really do appreciate it. Players like you are going to be growing the sport in the coming years even more so. So I do really appreciate. what you're doing for the sport and coming on here for this interview.
Yeah, I appreciate it as well. It's a pleasure being here, talking to you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you coming on here, Chris.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.